All right, I'm excited to be here. I've gotten a lot of questions about what it's like to take on two roles in the program and how that's maybe changed the way I approach my job. And one thing I want to point out is I no longer have time to get dolled up in suits for you guys on my press conference. So you're going to get the ball coach, Clark Lea. I'm fresh out of the film room watching our Tuesday workday for Virginia Tech. It was a hot day today. Obviously, it's going to be hot this week. We're going to do some things here in the next couple of days to take care of our team and make sure we're fresh. I want to see a fast and physical Vanderbilt team on Saturday. We're going to need to be because we got a good opponent coming in. Coach Pry's done a great job in his 2 years at Virginia Tech, and obviously have a ton of respect for him. Remember Coach when he was here and used to come visit with him and talk ball, and obviously Chris Marv being on the staff too. A great Commodore alum and someone, again, I have a ton of respect and love for. So excited to compete with those guys. I know our team is ready to compete. I talked to them this morning about not skipping steps. So we can be excited for Saturday and look forward to that. But it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that give us the chance to have the Saturday we want to have. So we'll hone in on our prep and look forward to opening the season and charting our course through a great year.
Gentry, go ahead. Yep. Clark, how much urgency do you feel going into this season, and maybe not this game in particular, but to get off to a good start and kind of validate a lot of the changes you've made?
I think I think the easy thing to say would be that and maybe the most convenient thing would be to see immediate redirection. The urgency I feel has nothing to do with anything other than being here to win and wanting to have success. So there's nothing additional there. But everything that I've learned in this role is that you do all the right things and you position the program the best you can, and sometimes you don't have total control of when that kind of manifests itself in performance. What I can tell you is that I believe in the changes we've made. I've seen and felt the progress here internally, and I know that in time that's going to deliver us the results we want. I don't want to back myself into a corner by saying, that we have to get off to a good start. I want to have a good season. And one of the things I've learned from Jerry, I believe that team he had last year maybe started 2-5 or 1-4. It was something to that effect. So much of our game and what makes it great is about the responses you have in the moment. And I don't want to talk a lot about last year, but I think if I were to share any disappointment that I had outside of the pain of the results from last season, it would be that I didn't do enough to get our program to evolve and to change. And it just felt like I could never get that team to the performance that we were proud of, and we suffered because of it. And so I'm really interested to start the season. I certainly would love to get off to a great start. That would obviously be a lot of fun. And for me though, this is a 12-game season that we're trying to unlock 13 and 14 and on. So we'll learn a lot about our team on Saturday, and and we'll chart a course forward. But I'm really interested in seeing this team evolve and get better as the year goes. And I want to look up at the end of the season and be really proud of the progress we made, and I want that to show up in our results.
How much of a litmus test is this first game given your opponent, just to see where you are?
It's a test, certainly. And I love the fact that, we're going to be measured against a team that is getting a ton of publicity right now for the success that they were able to create for themselves a year ago. Again, look at their season a year ago, and I believe I've seen a lot of stats here this week. I think they started the year 2-4 a season ago, and they were able to build some momentum and finished with a great bowl win against Tulane. So again, it's a great test. It's the first test, and I think too often, we've kind of in the past in this program, we look at 1 or 2 games. This is a season. This is a team that needs to be built for the endurance of the season. I know our team is going to be excited to play. We need to execute. We have to focus on the details. But we'll learn a lot about where we are, to your point. And then we'll set a course to just grow and evolve forward because we have enough. We have enough. We've improved our personnel. I think we've improved our tactical systems. We've improved the way we train our team. There's physical, speed and strength improvements, and that means that we're going to be in position to win games this year. And what we have to do is keep our mind focused on the day in, day out tasks needed to unlock our potential. But certainly we'll learn a lot Saturday. Being that it's our first game.
You said you didn't do enough to get the program to evolve and change. Are you talking team on the field last year, or are you talking big picture program building?
That was more a statement to the team a year ago on the field. I think even if you look at 21 season, I felt like for as hard as that year was, there just was this sense of gradual improvement. I thought we played our best football later in the year. We weren't good enough, and then in 22, I felt the same way. Obviously, we started hot in Hawaii, but as the year went on, we were able to find the 2 wins late and gave us a chance to compete for bowl eligibility in the final game. Again, we just weren't good enough in that game to get over the hump. But I think a team that improves through the season is a testament of a good coaching staff. And I think it's a measure of my performance as the head coach. And I thought last year it wasn't, for lack of trying. I never found the formula to get that group to go beyond the performance that we delivered. And a lot of the changes we've made are a result of kind of processing that and wanting to move forward from it. The bigger picture program stuff is independent of kind of the work that we do in terms of the tactical training and the physical training of our team and the systems we put them in and how we design success for them on the field, and that's kind of a whole nother conversation. Yeah.
On the depth chart, your defensive line is almost all new players or players who haven't gotten a lot of chance to play before. How excited are you about that kind of new look that you've got?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I think we've seen flashes of, some really strong play up front. When you look at our league, you're not going to be able to. There are going to be times where you're going to line up against teams that are going to be 350 pounds across the front, and there's always this idea that those teams can create physical pressure at the line of scrimmage. That you need depth. And then, if you're not countering that with 350 across the board, you have to be fundamentally and technically proficient. You have to play with great pad level. You have to do things in terms of the scheme to move people and to try to create advantages that way. And I've been excited to see that front grow in terms of the fundamental technical aspects. We are bigger up front, which is going to help us over the long haul here. I also want to compliment our offensive line and Chris Klanakis and the job they've done. I think we've been physically tested this camp. And so, I'm excited for those guys. I think there's a mix. And guys, I'm sorry. This is just the way it goes now for me. But when you look at the front and you talk about guys like Corday, guys like Zaylen, you're talking about new players. When you look at Linus Zonk, when you look at DT, Issa, Bradley Mann, Devin Lee, obviously Glenn Seabrooks is new as a freshman who's been impressive. Miles Capers. Those are all guys that return. And so we've gotten a lot of snap experience for those guys coming back. The addition of the new guys is obviously helpful, and we're going to lean on that group to have a great year on defense. And both sides of the line of scrimmage dictate how we play in this program, and we need to be good.
Coach, how are you approaching the quarterback position on Saturday?
Well, we're have a starter, and we're going to lean on that starter to play well and help us win the game. I haven't made it through a season here again in our league playing just one player. So inevitably, we're going to have a guy ready to take the snaps on Saturday, but I have no doubt in my mind that at some point this season we're going to be looking at a 2 or a 3 that will be out there in critical moments in our season. And so we'll start game 1 with a healthy quarterback position, and I have trust in those guys and what Coach Beck's done with them and Coach Altman to prepare them to be what the team needs for them to be.
What was the impetus behind naming Diego captain?
The impetus behind it was just the team vote. So I don't select any leadership in our program. I'll at times in the off season with the other coaches maybe put together some squad leaders that help just build accountability into our roster. But when it comes to captain votes and those kind of things, that all happens within the team. And so we voted on Saturday, and the team, I basically take the results and I kind of figure out where the line is, and really proud of the 5 guys that we named. And I'm impressed with Diego having been able to make that kind of impact on our roster in such a short amount of time. It's a testament to who he is and the kind of competitive mindset he brings to our program.
What are some of the things that he's shown you on the field?
He's creative. He's smart with the ball. I think he's a guy that'll use all 40 seconds to try to figure out what the shell is, so he can know where to go with the ball before the ball's snapped. He'll change his arm angles on the move. He creates with his legs. He's tough, and I think those are all qualities that we need from that position. And so it's been fun to watch him, obviously grow, and he's familiar with the system, but grow in our program. And I've been really impressed with the way he's taken ownership of our identity and applied it day in, day out. I appreciate that, because in the transfer portal era, I think program building is challenging. Team building's not, right? Team building's about a group of people getting together and aligning on a mission with specific identity and specific standards and expectations. And the fear of 53 new players and a bunch of transfers is that somehow you lose focus on your identity, or it gets watered down with a bunch of different agendas. I think all those guys have come in and embraced the program that we are. I think they all appreciate who we are as they compare and contrast to other experiences. But specifically to Diego, he's come in and embraced the aspects of our environment that make us unique, and he's championed those in the locker room. And as a coach, you can't put a value on that. So I'm appreciative of it.
Where are you better on defense this year?
I'm sorry, Chris?
Where are you better on defense this year?
Where are we?
Yeah.
I hope in a lot of places. There was a lot of room for improvement there. Again, go back to the Aria's question about the defensive front, and kind of in answering that, what this league demands of you on defense. There are going to be times where we play against fronts that are going to be physically imposing, and we have to have answers to that. And I talk to the players about this. Our answer can't be to play one front. It can't be to do one thing, because we have to use a combination of our again, fundamental technical proficiency, the physical power that we've gained, and our athleticism and design scheme to be able to spread the hard down around in the front. The same in the secondary. It's a league where there are going to be times where you're going to play against 3 really fast receivers, and you may not win every matchup, but can you do enough in your shell to again spread the hard down around and keep the opponent trying to figure out where you are and what you're doing. I think we got into a mode a year ago where, we were kind of in one coverage, and teams could formation us to get us into one coverage, and it didn't go well. The other thing about last year to this year, and I think just maybe a general answer to your question, Chris, is, we didn't contest space last year. So too often we were off and way leveraged at corner, and it's so easy. I mean, we play against the best teams in the country, but what's not hard is to have a corner that's off at 10 yards and pedaling, and to have a offense rip a hitch into that space. And it doesn't matter who you play against. When you concede space like that, you're setting yourself up for a long day. You're going to be chasing the ball around the field. And so, we have to put ourselves in position to contest space. When you talk about the space in the college field, you're talking about, the field number one, the field space with the overhang, and then obviously when teams go into the boundary, the boundary space that they can create. And so that's a tactical thing, that's a technical thing, but it's also a mindset thing. And so teaching these guys within calls, how they disguise, how they tempo, how they challenge, how they put pressure on the opponent, that's kind of the ticket. So look, we're faster, we're longer, we're bigger. We've gone through a tough camp where I think we've found a rhythm with who we are in terms of our tactics, and now it's about putting it to practice against another team, and again a team offensively that'll challenge us. So.
How does Jerry Kittle help you?
Well, I mean, where do I start? Jerry is, first of all, he loves football. He's such a good person. I've always admired him as a competitor. He's got an amazing and infectious spirit and energy. I think he's 110 years old, and so I'm just kidding. He makes me feel young again. No, Jerry's his experience is I lean on his experience, and he's such a he's always had tough and hard-nosed teams, and the fear of the head coach is always, are we doing enough? And so a lot of the nights where it's hard to sleep, you're just trying to balance pushing and pulling and kind of delivering a team to Saturday that, is both fresh but also prepared. And so Jerry's helped me a lot with his experience, kind of balancing that push and pull. I don't set a schedule without talking or picking his brain or hearing his thoughts on it. I've always kind of been a person that lives, in work as like more and more is better. So, I kind of have an ability to go, but sometimes when you lead from that, mentality, you can wear other people out. And so he's helped me kind of see where we can balance the work that needs to be done and where we can also take care of the team mentally and physically. And I think those are the things that I rely on him the most for. Obviously, there's a really skilled football coach there, so we've had a lot of fun, tactical conversations that I appreciate, and he's been helpful there. And what I entrust him to do is basically, be an observer in our program. So all the systems that are meant to serve our mission, and that's winning, all of those systems, he's a checkpoint on. And so whether that's athletic training or nutrition or strength and conditioning or academics, Jerry's going to be kind of gauging where alignment exists and where we may be out of whack and where we need to address something. So he's been helpful in that. And then along with Tim, they oversee the offense so I can focus my attention on defense. He's become a great friend, and certainly it's really neat for me to have a mentor in house, and I appreciate having Jerry with me.
Clark, how do you focus on the human side of this? You've got team, all these changes that have happened on the roster, on the staff, and yet you're still working literally around and in a construction zone where fans are going to have to be patient. I'm sure you all have had to be patient. What extra challenge does that bring to this team, this program right now?
It is a challenge. I think, gosh, I've had this reflection of, first of all, I mean, I can't say enough about Candace Lee and about what a partner she is, and it's exciting to be here at a time of transition, and the transition is not just physical spaces. I mean, we're redesigning and reimagining what it means to run a competitive football program in an NIL and transfer portal era. I mean, that's a behemoth, especially at a place that has always been traditional with respect to the student athlete model. I mean, we're really having to push. So independent of that, like, you appreciate little things, Teresa, like this fall camp, right? That we didn't have to travel off-site. I appreciate Innsworth High School and what they've allowed us to do, Lipscomb in the spring. I mean, but I was tired of having to jump in a bus to go and scrimmage, and sometimes we go to Innsworth and it lightnings, and what do you do? I mean, there's not a lot of options. And so, like, the fact that we've been able to scrimmage here is such an amazing thing to me. You want to talk about a year ago where we were changing in the pitching lab and having our halftime meetings in the pitching lab, and I mean, it's just like there were a lot of inconveniences there that at the time maybe you just kind of work through, but the fact that we've evolved from that feels really good, and having been in the stadium now 3 times, it's not finished, but it's not a dust bowl anymore, and we don't have the scoreboard hanging on the cranes, and I don't have to worry about a storm coming and they have to lower it down to the ground and that kind of stuff, so we're still challenged, and certainly we can't move fast enough, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, we also can't stop moving. I think there's a lot of things that are going on right now in our sport with revenue sharing and just so many changes, but this program needs to continue to push for attention and resources and to continue to build out a best-in-class facility and all the things that are required to be successful in this day and age. So we have to keep pushing, but certainly I appreciate the fact that we've moved on from some of the places we've been the last couple of years, and a year from now when we have a finished stadium, that'll feel really good.
Injury-wise, how are you doing? Are there any long-term issues right now?
We have Bryson Coleman, who had a clavicle fracture. He's going to be out for the time being, but we'll get him back. Obviously, Mark Davis, who's back around the team, which has been great to see him. He's going to be out for the season. We have a couple soft tissue issues that are still rehabbing back. Grayson Morgan is just dealing with a back issue that's going to keep him out probably for a month or two. C.J. Williams, the ankle fracture, we talked about that, out for the season. And the rest of it, honestly, is just some wear and tear. But I mean, we're in a good place, and I feel that's a credit to Coach Steiner and his staff and the training from the winter and the off season, the summer. Obviously, a compliment to Ray and our training staff, and I feel good about where we are in terms of our health, and we made it through camp relatively healthy. So onward and upward.
That balance you talked about that Jerry kind of talked with you about in terms of the team, pushing the team, has that had any bearing on how you go about your business on a daily basis?
Well, he's on me all the time about getting out of here, So, I'm kind of stuck in my ways. I mean, I love what I do, Joe. I don't. I love my family too. I do the best I can to fold both in and be really good at both. But this time of year requires a lot of a coach. It requires a lot of our players. I mean, they're not, they sacrifice so much that their peers on campus, won't ever totally understand. But I love what I do. I find joy in it. Every day there are challenges. Every day there's adversity. Every day you have to problem solve. Obviously, I've spoken on this in the past, but the most fun I'm having right now is coaching the defense, and that job, independent of any other job, was a 100-hour-a-week, job. So there's a lot to do. Jerry's on me about staying fresh, and he's right. It's a long season. I've got to approach it like a marathon, not a sprint. Again, going back to how much we desire to have success early, but the growth of this team is dependent upon, all of our strength as the year goes. And so it's finding the balance. But he's helped me in that, and he'll continue to push me in that, I'm sure. Yeah.
What kind of growth have you seen out of Ricky Wright since you took over the program?
Since I took over the program?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since, he's been here forever.
A lot. I mean, Ricky's a guy that's endured so much off the field, and it's, and he would never paint himself as a victim. Like he would never. I mean, he's got such strength that way, but he's a guy that's been through so much, that's never had the opportunity to just focus on being a good football player. And I'm excited for him to have kind of gotten to that point in his career. I think all the adversity, I think he just appreciates being a part of this team. I know I appreciate having him here. But in terms of, one of the great joys of the job is I get to share in the growth of all the people that are in this program. And I told this to the team the other day, it's like an addiction, when you get better yourself, or when you watch other people improve, when you as a coach feel like you're a part of that improvement, there's no better feeling in the world than that. And for me, that's part on the field. Like, that's a great feeling. But it's when you see guys come of age, grow into manhood, accept responsibility and prove dependability and accountability. It's just that process of maturation that, is really special. I think no matter what, we'll still, NIL, transfer portal, and the likes. I mean, coaching is still about those things. Coaching in college is still about those things. So DeRicky gives you a great opportunity to see that, for me, to experience it. He and I have had a lot of really hard conversations. We've had a lot of really special conversations, and I just appreciate his desire to be a part of this program and to finish out his career here. And I hope it's a great launching point for him into an unbelievable future, and I want to be a part of that. So.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.